We get an audio and everything, right? A pleasant evening to you, Guyana. Welcome to yet another program of Let's Talk with Annette Ferguson for this evening. It is Friday, November 24 in the year 2023. And I trust your week started well and your day was well spent and you were able to accomplish that what you had set out to accomplish. And I also trust that you're planning to start your weekend on a positive footing. That being said, just before I get into my program proper and to introduce my guests for tonight's program, allow me to extend, first of all, allow me to apologize for not being here last Wednesday and Friday. I actually was under the weather, now trying to recuperate. Wednesday we had a situation that was way beyond my control, but nevertheless I'm happy to be here this Friday evening. This Friday could have been spent somewhere else, but I'm happy that you joined me this evening. Allow me to extend birth anniversary greetings to those of you who are celebrating a birthday, also a wedding anniversary. I know a lot of graduation ceremonies have been ongoing, past and still to come. So let me just wish each and every graduate or graduate best wishes for the future, and may you continue to soar to higher heights. And for those of you who are having a death in the family, may I also take this opportunity in extending my deepest condolences to your loved one, and may God continue to bless them and strengthen you. And I also want to say a big shout out to those of you who are joining me live on my Facebook page, and also I think my colleague, he too is streaming live, so big shout out to all of you out there. On announcements, I just want to remind each and every Guyanese that the continuous registration is on. Continuous registration is on. I think GCOM began this exercise in March of 2023, and it will come to an end on the 30th of November 2023. So I want you to listen to me very carefully for probably a minute. Once you're 18 years and over, never registered, you can get registered in this process. If you're 14 years, listen to me, if you're 14 years by December 31st, 2023, that teen can also get registered, right? So 18 years and above, register. If you're 14 years by December 31st, 2023, you too can get registered. So it's a simple process. All that is required, a birth certificate or a valid passport. If you have DPOL, you also have to walk with that document. For a married woman who wants to change her name, all you gotta do is just go to GCOM with your marriage certificate and have the necessary changes made. If you've misplaced your ID card, this process will also allow you to have your ID card replaced. So please spread the word every morning. I try to put something on my Facebook to remind persons that the countdown is on us. So you have practically 6 days remaining to November 30th, 2023, right? 2023. And I also want to take this opportunity in reminding users of electric bikes, you have until December 29th, 2023 to get yourself in line. A bill was passed in the National Assembly, enacted by His Excellency, and will take effect from the 29th of December 2023. So if you don't get yourselves in line, then the law is there to deal with you. And I don't want, you to become delinquent or a derelict user of the road. So please ensure you put yourselves in order. I know Christmas is soon approaching, and I will continue to pour out to you to give me the support to bring smiles on, or to put smiles on the faces of our young people. So further information will be provided on future programs. But this evening, we will be discussing general issues. And to lead us in this discussion, or in the conversation rather, is my brother, my friend, my comrade. And he's no stranger to none of you there in TV land. His name is Mr. Yubraj Narain, former mayor of the city of Georgetown. So I just want to bid you a warm welcome to Let's Talk for this evening, Mr. Narain. And I trust that our conversation will be fruitful so that our people can be enlightened. So I don't know if you want to say anything.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member Annette, for having me on your show this evening. To my viewers, a special good evening to you.
All right, good. Thank you very much. Well, Mr. Narain, before we get into other matters, I just want us to spend a brief or few minutes on this whole Venezuela border issue. I know that you are a student of IR at the University of Ghana. You're reading for a degree in IR, and I want to congratulate you on that. So I guess, I don't know, perhaps you're probably doing a course regarding border disputes and what else, right? So I don't know what you want to share regarding this controversy.
I've been recently, last night, I think was on Freddie Kisun show, and I share a few points where we need to support in our Guyanese brothers and sisters out there, support any government dealing with border issues. I believe CARICOM should not only issue statement. I make mention, CARICOM, I see Dr. Court now also make mention of it today.
Yes.
Should bring heads a government meeting, and let us hear from the CARICOM, all the heads of government, the support to this nation here, Guyana, which is a long-standing and one of the founder of CARICOM.
Yes.
So we have a lot of work to do in policies here in Guyana, and not only cater for Venezuela, but I also make mention of National Security Council should put in place where you have government and opposition and advisor on these issues, join the joint forces and international forces as well, to give us advice, to come with strategies and strategic plans to deal with not only border issue but drugs, crime and criminal activities that taking place at these locations. So the border issue, we have much more to do. We have to equip the GDF. We have to help them. And I'm not seeing that support of giving them. I wrote a lengthy article about supporting our GDF, men and women in the GDF force. They need to be taken care of mentally, physically, and all around the family as well.
Exactly.
Yes. And that petty money that the GDF gets when they month up, those things should be increased. GDF, police, nurses, doctors, we have lobbied many times for these things.
Exactly.
And this is where now you need them.
Yes.
And the commander-in-chief, who is the president, need to recognize these things right? Who is there at the border, they need to be taken care of.
Exactly. But I want to draw your attention to the motion that was passed in the National Assembly, and also the resolution. And you would recall, I think it was either the 9th or the 10th of this month, several weeks ago, where the opposition from get-go, we are on record saying that, well, look, we would support when it comes to the protection of our borders, when it comes to sovereignty and the protection of our nation borders, as I said before. We are ready to give any government the support, right? And you would know from your readings and understanding that you had former from the leader of the People's National Congress reform, because this border issue has been with us for years, decades, So Barnum and Chetty, they worked collectively in fighting to protect what was ours. So coming right down to David Granger and Jack Liu. So now you have Ali and Norton. And as I said before, we are on record stating that we are in full support. But a motion passed, a resolution passed. But then again, you're not seeing much involvement of the opposition where this government is concerned, because it seems to me they're just wanting us to support this motion to show that we're united. But at the end of the day, many of our people out there are scared. Every day people are asking, what are we doing? And we are prepared to work with this government to go out, fan out in regions, to bring awareness, to educate our people. I don't know what are your thoughts on what is really happening, whether we're in full readiness for December 2020?
Let me say this much. I don't want to bash the president, but as head of state, and this is something any head of state will do, you have to come out with a press conference or a press statement and assure your Guyanese people that they will be safe. I have seen the president came out, yes, and he had an interview and he said that we must not worry and so, but I did not feel that assurance. And that's why I make mention on Freddie's show that I believe with the aggression of Maduro, they will take some kind of step after the third. His Excellency need to come out and say, look, this is it with the Guyanese people. Are you ready to lay my life for you, this country, this nation? That is what people want to hear. We don't want. I did share his post this morning where he went to the border and raised the flag. All those things are very sending a positive message. But the people out there need answers to lots of questions, and that is what I believe the government is failing to do. And I give my full 100 support to any government defending our nation. I was in the reserve as a staff sergeant, and I know what the men and women in the GDF faced every single God day. And we must understand that we have to lend them support. Coming back to the founder leader and the first executive president of this country, that was a class and a stalwart in his own way, where he did not use only CARICOM, but he used the trade unions to get to the other trade unions in different countries, so that trade union talked to their government, and the trade union actually sent some kind of pressure on their government to back Guyana. You know, when people talk about Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, he was a clever man, was an educated man, was a wise man, but people don't read about these things. And let me say this very much. I went to the Pegasus and listened to the forum that UG held.
Yes.
And then last evening or the evening before, they had one at somewhere with a few of them, and I can't remember the name. No, not Priya. And you know what I find? PVP activists, political activists who have been paid by this government, they are changing the history of this country with this border issue. That is what I find. PPP activists, political activists are changing the history, the dynamics of this nation with history, and that should not happen. We must give credit where credits belong to. And I must say that a national museum should establish with all this history, that the young generation will know what really took place back then.
Exactly, exactly. So there are a lot of reading materials out there. As I said before, guides, this issue with our border controversy was settled since 1899, the 1899 arbitral award. So it clearly is saying to me, and I guess all right taking guides, that because of what is happening in our waters, in the execrable river there, the exploration, the drilling of oil and all kind of things. It seems as though, Venezuelans now want to become greedy, and Maduro is actually heading to an elections next year. So is it a case where he's trying to put a stunt on his people to say that, well, look, yes, I could bad up against the Guyanese people, bully them and think, no, this thing is currently at the level of the ICJ. And we're on record. Let the process work. Let the process work. And what we found also is that many Guyanese many Venezuelan, as a matter of fact, are coming into our country. And, it is because of what is happening, the situation that is happening in Venezuela. So they're actually looking for greener and better pasture. So they're finding that comfort here in Guyana. But, Mr. Narai, what is sad is that during the debate in the National Assembly, the opposition had asked the government to provide information. The number of migrants, look, our borders, both to the west and east, is very porous. And then when you're not getting information readily available to the nation, it is quite worrying. To date, all that we're getting is inflated figures, where the number of persons from Venezuela is concerned.
The government don't have any list of Venezuelan in this country. I can say to you, we started at City Council in 2020 and 2021, and that is on record, and I make mention at the forum. We started to educate the citizens of Georgetown on the Venezuelan border issue since 2020 and 2021. It's there on record. We have all the documents, and I make mention to the Vice Chancellor those documents at City Council, and he can get a few get those documents. You have currently over 9,000 Venezuelans in this city, and probably must meet more now.
Yeah,
right? And they don't know these things, and they don't have any record. But like the Vice President Bara Jagdeo, is your ID card, is your birth certificate, the people are concerned about only votes, to remain in power, to dominate and to dictate the Guyanese people life.
Yes. So, viewers, Guyanese, this whole issue with the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy, the government of Venezuela, headed by Mr. Nicolas Maduro, will be putting they have already put five questions to their people, so they're going to a referendum.
Before we move off on Comrade Annette, and something I researched only this afternoon, when they cannot give a figure of foreigners that nationalize in Guyana. GCOM can do it. GCOM can issue how much Venezuelan was nationalized from 2020 to now. How much Chinese, how much Indians, how much Brazilians, how much Cubans. Let GCOM issue the list to the public.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Let GCOM tell us how much people they register, nationalize, and issue ID card, because the records are there at GCOM. It is there at the passport office.
Yes.
Why the government cannot issue it nationally?
And not only the passport office, even at the Ministry of
Home Affairs.
Because remember, that's where,
the process
begins,
yes.
Right? To become naturalized and all kind of things.
I only thought of it and did my research on it this afternoon. Right? And I said I will make mention on your program these things. GCOM can do it. The immigration can do it. Ministry of Home Affairs can do it. Let us know what is happening in this country as Guyanese. Everything these people want to keep by themselves, like a secret, like what happened at the housing ministry.
Yes, and we gonna get to that hot topic in a while. But I want to turn your attention just before I move off. So just to remind Guyanese that I know for a fact that a number of sessions are being held across communities just this evening before coming in studio. I think the Boynham Foundation, they have a symposium on this very matter at the St. Stanislaus College. So they began this afternoon. I think it is still in session, perhaps to end in a few minutes from now. So we have to continuously read and glue to our televisions to know exactly what is happening. But I believe, Mr. Narayan, the government needs to step up their game. Get the opposition involved. We are ready. You got the resources. We don't have the resources. And I think the leader of the opposition in his press conference earlier today made mention that, well, look, the amount of work the opposition really would like to do, we don't have the resources. You controlling the purse of the city, of the country. So all that is required is that you engage the opposition, share information, and we will make ourselves available, because at the end of the day, all of us are involved. So Supremo is real, and we got to protect what is ours.
Annette, I also call for a national conference. A national conference will help us. You have the both opposition and government on that conference. You have the joint services, you have the trade unionists, and information should be shared at that conference. This is the amount of Venezuelans we helped in this country.
Yes.
They're national here now. They receive benefits from this country. Right? It's not we shun the Venezuelans. It's not what we want to dislike of our Venezuelan brothers and sisters. We welcome them. But we must show the international community the border issue is one topic. But the next topic, Guyana, in its leniency, welcome the Venezuelans who start for a better life with their children. And this is what we had done. Information need to shared with not only the Guyanese but internationally.
Yes.
Right? But these people is not thinking, and everything they keep by themselves.
Which is quite unfortunate. And I can only say, Raj, is that if you got something to hide, you have something to hide. Hence you're keeping the information to yourself. Raj, I want to turn our attention briefly to this cost of living issue. It seems as though that things just keep escalating every day. But public servant salary yet to be increased. I mean, we're close to month end. We're yet to hear. I don't know when this announcement will be made, but I know $25,000 one-off was actually paid out. Right? They said that they were going to pay public servants and certain categories of workers this $25,000. I don't know how you're making out, because I know you have a family. I don't know how many people have been engaging you and pleading with you as a leader. What is really happening in this
Every
country?
day people call me Cormadanit, and the cost of living in this country is terrible. For what the president does contradict himself many times, saying that we are delivering to the people. The people are living good and happy. And $25,000 is a chicken feed, right? A grain of chicken feed. It cannot do anything. At the market, you buy it wouldn't fill your basket, not even the supermarket.
Exactly.
And I must say this: the ministers and government officials don't understand what is happening in the people home. The cost of living started since this government took office.
Yes.
They said they reduced VAT from building materials, cement and all these things. But while we reducing the VAT from it, right, it gone beyond the VAT now.
Exactly.
Wood gone beyond the VAT. All these things, stone and everything gone beyond when the people used to charge what? You had a different rate. Now it gone more than 16%.
And sand.
And sun and all
No,
these
no,
things
40,000
for load the sun.
Yes.
So when you say you reduce something for the people, you're actually taking it back 10 times in a different circle. So cost of living in this country, a pack of milk, Milex milk is about no, it's more $1,080, 1,000 something. It is not it gone from the hundreds to thousands.
Well, just last week on the market there, pumpkin. You know, pumpkin is a thing that's grow wild.
$900,000 slice.
900,000. And if you see how the, I mean, I don't eat pumpkin, but if you see, you know, pumpkin is supposed to be the cheapest commodity on the market. $1,000 for a slice. I mean, I drove through the market early this afternoon. I see much on the being displayed by vendors, but I see one or two little cups. $1,000. Where are we going?
Look, a young man met me from Harlem yesterday and said to me he plant rice and he do gardener. He's a gardener. And he do eat kitchen garden, he sell and so on from it. And he said to me, when they had the little disaster or whatever, that he signed up his name for get the grant, like the money that they give out to farmers, if you can recall that.
Yes.
He said to date, he didn't get $1. But people who do not plant and who do not even go to the back dam get the money, right? He's a PPP supporter. He's an Indian. He live at Harlem. And this is what happening in several regions and communities of this country.
Well, you see, you went straight to the relief, the flood relief.
Yeah.
But what about the COVID cash grant?
Well, me never
The
get the time to know.
25,000, a lot of people still holding that pink slip. So, you know, the corruption is so pervasive in this country. And when you call this word corruption, they take offense. But it is the reality. It is the reality. So I trust that, you know, come in the new month, in a week's time, we will hear good news that public servants
but
will
I
be
saw a statement, I don't know if it's accurate, that the government actually said to rice farmer don't plant rice because of the dry weather and so on. I don't know if it's true or not.
No, I haven't seen
I have to check back. But if that is true, if that is true, I don't know. I have to recheck my source. If that is true, we are calling on the government to make plan for these rice farmers. They must get some kind of help from government.
Exactly.
Because the dry weather is terrible, and we think must put in place for them. They're important to this nation, right? And let me say this much: you only see the agriculture minister region 6, region 5, and region 2, no. You not see a region 10 and so. Them area there, you not see there. You only see certain regions and communities.
Yes.
You not see the Minister of Agriculture anywhere else. You not see it region 10 and them places this. And Barty Council.
Yes, so, you know, it is my hope and desire to see better coming for our people in another few days. But I need to turn our attention to this hot topic that has hit the airwaves, and it has to do with the corrupt practices, you know, at the Ministry of Housing and Water, specifically the Central Housing and Planning Authority. You know, I really wanted to deal with this as a separate issue, but when you called me, agreed for us to meet and have this discussion. But several days ago, many comments were being, or things were being posted and reported by different ones who would have applied for house lots and who paid for money and all manner of things. This afternoon, when I have been writing letters to the editor, and just last month, 11th of October 2023, I did identify that there's corruption in the Ministry of Housing, Central Housing and Planning Authority. In 2021, when I wrote a letter, and the Colin Crowell picked me up. Again, I identified that there is massive corruption in housing. He said to me, bring the evidence. And I got evidence. I do have evidence, right? But just before coming on here, I note a release from the minister within. This is Madam Susan Rodriguez. And I guess you would want to share, I don't know what you have to say about it, but in a nutshell, she was actually saying that her staff, who works in her secretariat, right, so Mr. Sugrin, has been implicated in this whole situation. But Mr. Sugrin being employed in her secretariat is actually like an undercover staff, right? Probably going around the ministry, trying to see what information he can pick up to see which staff are involved in corrupt practices. So let me hear from you, my brother, how you feel about this.
Comrade Annette, when I saw this statement, this is one of the disgusting statements ever
Sickening.
I ever saw that a minister of government issued. The statement by Honorable Minister Susan Rodriguez, 24th of November 2023. It's one of the most disgusting statements. Let me say this much. I respect the office of all ministers and government officials. But politicians, including myself, we must come honest and be truthful to this nation when we are elected to serve. We are public servants.
Exactly.
Right? To serve the people, to ensure that the process and procedure, the policy is in them favor, not our favor. And the government seem not to understand what is the purpose being elected in office. It's to serve the people.
Yes.
Right? The people not to serve us.
Exactly.
We have to create policies to deal with issues that affecting our Guyanese brothers and sisters. But the government doing the opposite. They're creating policies to benefit them pockets, friends, favorites, and family.
And flat-footers.
Yes. Right? The 4F.
Yeah, the 4 Fs.
Fs, yes. So, Madam Susan Rodriguez's statement, it's disgusting. And this is to show that they themselves know what is happening in Central Housing and Planning Authority. They themselves know exactly what is taking place at that level of government. Because of this statement here, you actually sell the entire housing ministry out.
Yes.
Right? You actually said, I was expecting a COI.
Yeah, well,
I was expecting that.
A forensic audit.
A forensic audit.
Yeah, because I called for that.
Right? And all these things, a comprehensive report. IFA did call on a comprehensive report to be in the public domain after the investigation. Yes. But when you come out as a minister with such a statement, it tells you a different story altogether. So all of them knew what is happening in the housing authority. And this is to show you, guilty, when you're guilty of something, just kill you.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You can't settled.
Indeed.
Right? So this statement here prove everything. Right? What is happening.
Yeah, but the third paragraph, if I can read for our viewers, because it's a lengthy press statement put out by the member there. Unbeknown to the public, on my instruction, Mr. Sugrin has been assisting the Guyana Police Force in an investigation to uncover said evidence against staff members or outsiders who were suspected of conducting illegal transactions. Today, his efforts have led to the arrest of several persons. This is just laughable. Several persons. This will no doubt assist the police to further their investigations. Unfortunately, the reckless and vindictive postings on social media which prove nothing has compromised months of tedious investigative work, which could have potentially led to more arrests. Now tell me, who Susan Rodriguez really talking about?
No, they think we are fools.
Yes. So if Susan Rodriguez don't know her duty as a minister of the government, or if you don't understand the structure in Central Housing and Planning Authority, right? Because they have several units there. And at that, well, we need to enlighten her. Because in the Central Housing and Planning Authority, there is an investigative arm. There is an investigative arm. So if I'm the minister and I get reports about nefarious activities happening in the ministry, why won't get me undercover, me staff as an undercover person to do the work of what the investigative staff supposed to be doing? It is for that report to be sent to the chief executive officer, who will then ensure the head of that unit, I'm trying to recall the unit here, but it's going to come to talk into my mind. So who's heading that unit for a total investigation to be done. I sat at the Ministry of Housing, Central Housing Planning Authority, and I can tell you, reports came to me. I sent a staff seeking and deepening and finding out information. The information went to the CEO. After we conducted the investigation, the matter was then handed over to the police for further investigation. Was staff getting involved in these kind of activities? That's not a responsibility of the staff.
No, not at all.
Staff.
Man, look, this statement sell out the ministry, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It sell out all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You're guilty. But let me say this much to you. If you know your ministry alleged, people make allegations,
yes,
both social media and in your own country and so on. And what you should have done is actually establish an independent body.
Mm-hmm.
You make mention there is an investigation section,
mm-hmm,
which I can say to you, Comrade Annette, the officers in housing, some of them indulge in this thing, and they know themselves where some of them got every scheme open. They got house in the different body name, mother, father, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, auntie. And it go on and on. Brother-in-law, sister-in-law, niece-in-law, and it go on and on. Mm-hmm. Where officers in housing, in every housing scheme opened, they got a house and land.
And they're renting.
And they're renting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you know your allegation made to your ministry, get an independent body, establish a COI to show the public whether it is an allegation or not. Mm-hmm. Come clean, right? This is a massive corruption, yes, in housing ministry, and this thing is not going on now. This is going on since the PPP took office. Let me go further. The PPP groups is where this thing happening. The PPP groups, where you have PPP members, PYO members, are going to the people, their own supporters, and say, look, we're going to fast track your application. This is the amount of side money you have to give us, and this is what you have to pay to housing. And you will go normal, and you will reach this person, and you will get through. Mm-hmm. Right? The PYO of the PPP they knew about these things, them. Mm-hmm. They have their own supporters they're going to. And it sick my heart because their own supporter even reach out to me for help.
Yes. Yes. And you see, that is why, when we went into government, you had thousands of applications still on file to be processed. Many people have been reaching out to me since when we were in government and we issued lands to people, right? Now it's 2023, and to date, these people have not been awarded house lots or allocated house lots. But you know what you're going to hear? So far we were able to allocate 30,000 house lots. That's inflated figures, people, because in no given term of the People's Progressive Party Civic, 30,000 house lots issued out. I have the records and I have analyzed and put it in the public domain. And from 1992 up to the time when they left office in 2015 was over 100 and something thousand house lots they would have issued across this nation. So don't be fooled, my people. You made a very critical point. when you said that officers, some officers in the unit there, got houses in the various schemes. I support you on that. You know why I support you on that? I visited several housing schemes and people who were residing in there. You understand me? I could remember a man said, I said, man, how you enjoying this house and so? The man said, yes. I said, but the man said, here, it's not me on, a paying rent. I said, you're paying rent? So where's the owner? I asked you, paying rent? Where's the owner? The man could have identified houses and called officers' name.
Man, it's a massive corruption happening at housing, and that's why IFAD call upon the government to issue the list that lands that give out at Prospect, the road front, Providence, and Houston. Produce a list. And let us see all these people in, right? Where the discrimination lies. Produce the list. If you are honest enough, the PPP government I'm speaking of, if the government don't have nothing to fear on discrimination, produce a list all who get lease and lands at Houston,
yes,
Prospect front, Providence front. Produce the list. Let the public see. Right? They will never produce it. It will never come forward. I am telling you that. You have ministers in this government have apartments, buildings.
yes,
Right? Apartments, building. Not 1 or 2, 3 and 4. Right at Prospect and Providence.
and
right?
Cummins Lodge.
And Cummins Lodge. And far go by extension, Good Hope scheme, new scheme that bill into. Right? The nonsense these people getting on with. You have government officials got family set up stationery where they it's their own, but it's not in their name, right? Some family name, supplying the ministry with stationery. Right at Ministry of Housing, right? You have, man, look, I couldn't get the evidence today. The boy said he will bring it for me maybe early next week.
Yes.
Right? Where ministers and PS, they have companies. Not in their name, but the companies.
Being fronted.
Yeah, fronted.
Yes.
Where now, this company, and that is where when I get the documents, I will get it soon. Right? Where the documents now, you will, IFAD plan to call on the government to investigate and have an independent investigation done on these companies' name. And you will see the contract that awarded to these companies.
Yes.
Right?
It is, as I said before, the corruption is so pervasive in this country. And I don't, sometimes when you sit back and you analyze what is really happening, it seems as though these people grabbing because they probably tell themselves, we're only here for a short period of time, so we gotta make hay while the sun shines. So they're grabbing at every single thing. But you know what? I would love when the administration change come 2024, 2025, we have to conduct a thorough investigation into the activities at all these ministries. So if you Braj, was fronted for a man and you can't show that, well, look, you had this money and this is you company thing. These things got to be confiscated because at the end of the day, what they have been doing is stealing from the taxpayers to enrich themselves.
But, Annette, let me say this much. This information is given by PPP supporters to me,
Yeah, because the people they're
so disturbed and disgusted
of the corruption.
Right? And you see the PPP fail to understand. Besides I'm a politician, I wear many hats. I'm a Hindu priest. Right? I conduct rituals every day for people out there. And people have this kind of confidence in me. They will come secretly and tell me which ministry, where they might work and why everything. Like the Auditor General office. You still got some whose son are still pay and you have to work 4 years and he not go to work. Me don't know who is the person.
Is he auditor? Yeah, the Auditor General himself.
I don't know, but information, all of these information is coming to me by PPP source, right? People call me today. I received like 18 calls from Eswikibu. PPP supporters want to reach out to me to tell me what is happening in the region with the chairman and all these people and what they're doing to people. And when the Indian supporters stood up to the PPP, they're victimized. They tell them, we will do this to you and do that to you. So you now have to stay quiet.
Driving fear into
It's like I
people.
said before, any Afro-Guyanese stand up to Bharat, he's a criminal. Any Indian stand up to PPP, they victimize them. Right? Any member of parliament from the opposition side stand up against the PPP, we are low life.
Exactly.
Uh,
Disrespectful to
disrespectful,
our colleague. Yeah, to women.
right?
But you see, he know better, because remember, it's the same gentleman who caused this nation to believe that he was married to the woman.
Yeah.
You understand me? And you see all of the abuse that some parliamentarians went through under the hands of these of certain sitting ministers, and today no action.
So if you're not drinking them soup, you're in problem. You'll be victimized for everything you do in this country. Right? They're coming after me. They're trying to cripple me. But let me tell you something. I fear nobody.
Exactly.
I fear the Almighty.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
So housing ministry, there's a lot going on there, Comrade Annette. And the poorer people suffer.
All the time.
Right?
Because if I may, just this week, a gentleman came up to me as I was, moving around the place. And he said to me, man, up to now, I pay off for my land and these people can't show me the land. I said, where is land there? And I said, when you pay? He said, man, the land there is bank. Some Golden Grove. I said, Golden Grove? Golden Grove they gave you? I went on to explain to the young man, just before the PPP left office in 2015, they sold acres of land to a favorite of them. The records are in the forensic report done by Christopher Ram and McRae Company. It's in the report, the forensic report of 2017, showed that these swath of lands were actually sold just before the coalition. The elections was May 11th, 2015, and just before the handover of government, from government to government. I think it was May 16, lands were sold to favorites of the PPP.
But
So that particular land, that particular land in that area, the Golden Grove area, got some major problem because 5 years, the developer failed to develop the land. And I was told, when I investigated, that the area was being undermined, flooded very frequently. Excuse me. Right? So when the government changed, this is what the PPP did, or this is what their friend did, the developer did. He handed back the land to the government. So guess who getting this flooded land? The poor people. So the young man complained to me, up to now, he paid for this land and he cannot have access to his land. So don't boast and tell me that you give out 30,000 house lots. That might sound nice, you want the public to believe that you're acting in their interest. But the reality is, out of the 30,000, have you done the analysis to show how many persons have actually accessed those lands and have commenced building? That's the information I want.
But let me say this to you. Remember, I think it was last year, Susan accused me for fraud
Yes, excellent.
by getting my rights as a guy needs to get a land. And I said when she accused me, I didn't respond to her. I was going to challenge her in court. But I said, I respected Susan a lot, right? But with this nonsense I seen coming out from her office, it's disgraceful, it's disgusting. And Susan accused me about fraud in housing. How I, an outsider, go for fraud housing? People not really think. That is my entitlement. And I said to them, look, you got the Integrity Commission, you got all of these, you want to investigate me, I welcome an investigation,
Yes.
go and investigate me. Right? I still said to her, you want to investigate, you want to take back your land, you want what you want to do, do it. Right? That is my right. I applied and I received. I applied wait till 2000 something, right? And I can recall that she and Chronicle carried that news. Former Mayor O'Brien in fraud. They take days and pass me, right? I tell them investigate me,
Yeah.
right? Me not see no investigation yet.
Because they know that you will come up strong against them, you know. So I know we're coming down to program time, but this particular release by this honorable member, why would you want to jump ahead of time? You know, jump ahead of time when the evidence is glaring. When the evidence is glaring, who are these persons that have been brought, were arrested as you claim? When were they arrested?
Let me tell you how this thing goes. So Harry got the contact at GCOM. Harry said 1.5 for low income land. That you have to pay he. Now Harry go tell James. James go say, go tell Jerry. Well, buy is 2 million. Jerry go tell the people out there is 2.5. So here make something, here make something, this one make something. Right? You have to carry to boss, whoever is it. So it's a circle. Right? But moon does run till they catch him.
Yeah, and you know, let me tell you something, you Branch. I have seen a receipt. I have seen a receipt. This applicant made an application for a house lot on the East Coast, somewhere on the East Coast. I know the area, so I don't want to call the area to give out, you know, for the information. It so happened that area, that particular area, is not ready. So somebody now engaged this person to say, man, I could get a piece of land for you on the East Bank. But the land, imagine this person is entitled to a low income land on the East Coast. Right? But you approach this person, say, I could get the land for you on the East Bank, but you got to pay $2 million. And you know, the person paid $1 million, and people in key position in the hierarchy at Central Housing and Planning Authority, they're the ones who are culpable.
Man, Annette, I said it before in this program. I said
Sorry,
no.
I heard a young man who was recently dismissed, I think something last year, from the authority. He was involved in these very practices, right? But he was acting on behalf of his bigger boss in the ministry there.
It's shameful.
So in order to keep him silent, you understand me, they had to probably do something nice to keep, don't let him spill the beans. But a lot of wrong things are going on at the Ministry of Housing and Water, more so the Central Housing and Planning Authority. And viewers, I want you to hear me out clearly. When we took government in 2015, I only went to the ministry in 2019, April of 2019 at Central Housing and Planning Authority. When the records came to me, I remember one pastor coming to me from the West Bank. 1995 application, 1997 application. I said, Pastor, where were you? I asked him, where were you all these years? You're sitting before me in 2019 and you got a letter of acknowledgement since 1997, and the man had his stories to tell or to share. So a lot of wrongs are going on at Central Housing and Planning Authority. And I want viewers to hear me out. When the Central Housing and Planning Authority was established in 1948, it was established to help the working class of people. So what do you mean? If you're a public servant, if you're a cane harvester, you understand me? If you're a waterfront worker, you can go apply and get government land at a reasonable price. But what I find happening now is that these big boys, these bigger boys who got the monies out there, they're acquiring these government lands for pittance. You could get a house lot for, let us say, $1 million. What they will do, $1 million is nothing to some of them, they will pay that $1 million, hold this land for 10 years. When they hold this land for 10 years, the value will go up. So 10 years ago, you paid $1 million. 10 years after, this very land worth close to 100 million depending on the area. So you see how much profit that man is making? And even if some of them don't want to wait for the 10-year, they will use this irrevocable power of attorney. You understand me? Where they could still probably sell off the land and pay whatever penalty before the 10 years elapsed. So at the end of the day, it is this ordinary Guyanese who are suffering because the system continues to work against them because of greed and covetousness of some persons who are working in
But by extension, you have ministers in government, the poorer people who get their land and can't afford to bill and pay off for their land. You have ministers put people there to go and ask the people that they're going to offer them so much money for sell that land with the irrevocable. Ministers of government doing this. Ministers of government. So that minister will buy that land. But you don't know, you wouldn't go in that the minister name. Right? The cookishness go happen. And that is how ministers are also buying land. Right? Government ministers. So it's a shame and disgraceful thing that is happening to this nation. And the poor people from Region 1 to Region 10 continue to suffer in this country. Continue to suffer. And it's a shame that the PPP government is heading down such a road.
Yes.
They are elected there to bring relief to the people. This country belongs to the people. So I will call again to the public. And you want people to come forward. Nobody don't want to come forward for be victimized. Nobody don't want to come forward in this allegation. You have to establish a COI.
Yes.
Right? And get the officers them involved. And yourself as minister involved as well.
And perhaps if he's the CEO too.
Exactly. People you think ordinary guys go and come forward for go and give a complaint. Then people go tremble. This is reality in this country, man.
Yeah, because people are seeing what is playing out, the victimization, the discrimination. As soon as you come out, they're coming after you. Look, this guy, Brian Max, he's now a target for them. You had Dion Bascom, another target for them. So it seems as, and the hurtful thing, Raj, is that the Ghana police force will never act. You know why they will never act? Or even if they act, they will not do so impartially. You understand me? Because this government, from the time they took office, right, by illegitimate means, they have controlled, put people who can be their puppets in the Ghana police force and in the Ghana Defense Force to do their biddings. And it isn't easy because this, ranks workers in the force would complain to you, things not regular there. People are frustrated, but people would remain silent, bear the suffering for the time being because they know that better days are ahead. And that is why I insist, and we have to continue to remind our people that they got to ensure that their names are on the voters list. Right? I know, Raj, we have about 3 minutes remaining to program time, or 2 minutes, just before we wrap up. At his press conference, I need your comment on a statement made by Mr. Ballard Jabdio against Cathy Hughes about her being low life. As a priest, a pandit, religious leader, what do you say to such things?
I thought this is your statement today on that. We find it very disrespectful to the Honorable Member Cathy Hughes, and by extension, you're opening a door now for people disrespect women in our society. Dr. Barajak Dio, the Vice President, should set a better example, and that is what I always said with Jack Dio. He lost his mind, he lost everything. He don't know, he get caught up in his own lies, in his own world, that sometimes he don't know what to say, how to defend his party, how to defend himself, right? I saw Brian Max post super passport on the social media and all these things. That thing gone so low. You never hear about anything. Those are things should be investigated for.
Mhm.
No investigation. So I respect the office that any government official hold. But a man like Jack Dew, he's lost all his credibility when you can call a woman low life. And most of all, a member of parliament, a member of the opposition, a
Exactly.
black woman,
Exactly.
you calling them low life? If you call me a low life, I because say something, your man, right? But calling a woman low life, a member of parliament, something wrong with Jack Dew.
Something is definitely wrong with him, and what he fails to realize is that he, as a man, he came from a woman. He came from a woman. You understand me? So I can only imagine. I can only imagine what happens behind closed door at whether it's cabinet or at Freedom House.
No,
I
but
could imagine the disrespect.
no, but if he can, as a vice president, say that a member of parliament is low life, what more you never say to people in the
But that
public?
is it. You know, you Blanche, time has really, really caught up with us, you know, and our is never sufficient to get our points over. But I think this evening we had a good and healthy conversation, and I do look forward to your pairing once again so that we can continue
Thank you very
these
much.
discussions. So I thank you very much for taking time out from your
Thank you,
restful
viewers. Thank you.
Friday evening
Thank
to
you.
be here with it this evening. So viewers, this is all the time we have for tonight's episode of Let's Talk. Do look forward to you joining me next Wednesday for another edition. Once again, do enjoy your weekend. May God continue to bless you. May God continue to bless your family. And most importantly, may God continue to bless our beautiful nation, Guyana. Mama,